Moving on then to what I call the pre-migration step. So things to do before you move the data from where it was in that old model to the new model. And again, these are things to have a talk with your technical support teams on. So it's quite important, and this would be good practice anyway, that not that migrations necessarily go wrong, but it would be good practice just to have a backup before you do that. So, you know, have you got a good backup of all staff, individual and student and shared areas? Is that backup tested? Is it secure? And if you need to, how quickly could you restore systems back to normal if things go wrong? Not that they do, but that's good practice pre-migration. And it's also a good tip to give some thought to some structure before you make that move, and particularly with regard to shared storage. You know, personal areas are personal areas, and they can pretty much be structured as they always were. But as you move to Teams, the new shared area, it's really good idea to give some thought to what new shared areas or what new teams that you need. So the structure of your shared area, and also how might staff be accessing those. There are lots of choices which I'll go through on the next few screens. You know, have you communicated all of that to staff? You know, change is difficult, but one thing that helps with that is if they clearly understand what will be happening when, how they'll be trained, what these new tools will look like, and what benefits it's going to be giving them. So you should have already really gone through that thinking and decided on those things before moving the data. Also gives some thinking about staff doing some data cleansing. Yes, there's going to be a migration. We're going to move things from that old world to the new world, but do you need to move everything? It's a real opportunity to have some housekeeping, and also give some thought to GDPR compliance. You know, are you keeping things for longer than you need to? It's a good opportunity to go through that thinking. And then who are going to be your champions and how are they going to train staff? These are all some key things to think about. And then also decide how that data is going to move. Again, you've got some choices, which I'll go through in a second, but that's an important thinking to go through before you actually kind of make the move. It's a good idea to sort of plan that out to minimize disruption to the working school day. Think about finishing with one system perhaps at the end of the term, and then after the holidays using the new system. All of these kind of things, and how that's dovetailed with and tailored with staff CPD, and the communication plan around this. And I think please don't underestimate this kind of change. We found it was a big change in lots of our schools. We were actually in many schools not just moving data, we were also making sure Windows 10 was right across all of those estates, and also, you know, versions of Office were being changed as well. So if you are a school changing your version of Windows, your version of Office, and where stuff is changed, you know, that's a lot of change. So really clear communication, you know, telling them again and telling them a third time, we found was really important. You know, do think about CPD in great detail. These are fundamental tools which are used every day by most users. You know, the chances are if you don't train staff properly, they are going to be confused, and that is going to cause a lot of disruption to the working life. You know, so think about CPD, think about refreshers, think about drop-ins, think about floor walkers. You know, are your end users happy? Are they confident? Do they know what's going on? And include the students in that as well. Again, big change. Don't assume that students will just pick this up. You know, people need to know where to go for help. Even sometimes with the smallest of kind of queries. And the biggest piece of advice I would give on this is back this change. There was a reason why I put that slide in with the confused gentleman in the middle. Give some thought to legacy systems, but don't let users use two systems for too long. It just ends up not supporting the change that you want, and it ends up in staff confusion. Fine to let the legacy run for maybe a week or so just to ease that pain, but at the end of the day, at some point, you need to switch off the old world.